good evening, and happy Sunday, everybody. We're back with another episode of Chic Chat Podcast, and we are still celebrating Chic Chat Podcast's birthday, where Chic Chat Podcast turns 2. So we still excited and thrilled about that for year 2 of our journey as we're completing and wrapping up year 2 and headed into year 3. So join in with us today. Check in, and let us know where you're checking in from. You know that this whole entire month is supposed to be like surprise episodes, so you don't know who's going to be coming on, as we normally try to publicize who we're going to bring on as our guests. So this month we're not doing that. So, every week it's going to be like, okay, you're going to have to check in to find out what it's about, who's on, or whatever. So that way that gets you guys checking in like you need to be checking in, right? So we're going to be doing that for the entire month. So next week, we got 2 more weeks left. So, but we still ask you to still, use that hashtag chicchatpod too. So that way we can kind of tally who's been sharing and helping to grow the podcast, So that's how we're going to tally and see who's eligible for that flat screen TV at the very end of week 4. So if you're doing all your tagging and sharing and asking people to follow and like and subscribe to Chit Chat Podcast, thank you. We appreciate that and continue to do so because we want to continue to grow as well. So, but today I'm excited about today's podcast because when we're talking about a podcast, everybody think how hard can it be for a podcast? But we talked a little bit last week about the podcast, like behind the scene things when Tequila and I was talking about how sometimes our schedule gets to conflict and we don't get to kind of collaborate and get together, but then we end up bouncing off each other. So, but that's because we have that chemistry. But sometimes, that's not always the case. And so you'll be working with a whole entire crew. There's things that go on behind the scenes. You got to know how to bounce from that because sometimes you're totally on live. It's not pre-recorded. So there's no way that you can go back and edit stuff. So it's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes in podcasts that get you prepared or get us prepared for, to entertain our audience, to entertain and engage with you guys, to make sure that you guys are tuning in week after week after week. So, and so today, my guest today is going to come on and help me talk about the podcast land. They have a podcast. Their podcast is booming. So we're going to discuss, the things that, that was created to establish the podcast, some lessons learned from the beginning up until now, and some things that, if you're interested in starting a podcast, you can probably get some nuggets from and say, yeah, this is something I think I can do, I want to do, or whatever, and kind of, build or establish your platform from there. But they have a real good program, and you probably heard me talk about it before. So I am super excited to have co-hosting with me today my prior podcast crew from my football nights, my Friday night football podcast crew. They are here with me today, and we're going to talk about podcasts. So if you got any questions, bring the questions on. They're going to share about their podcast, what their podcast platform brings and contributes week after week. And if you have questions, shoot them in the comment section. Jada, make sure they're highlighted so that way we can get your questions answered by one of the panel members. But without further ado, Jada, bring our podcast guests on so they can introduce themselves. Hey, guys.
Hey,
What's happening?
hello. How are you?
I am good. Look, we ain't been together in a long time, so it's good
Man,
to
it's
see
been a
you
minute.
guys.
Feels
Yes,
like
it's
old
been a minute.
times.
I know.
It feels like old times. So good to see you.
I know. I missed you guys too.
We
So
miss you too. We really
look,
do.
I'm excited though because every once in a while I get a chance to peep in and stick my head in with you guys and on the platform still and be in the comment section or whatever. So before we dive into all of that, let me get you guys to introduce y'all podcast and introduce yourselves and how long you've been with the podcast that you're with. We'll start with you, Jessica.
I knew you were going to say that. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Abrams. I guess you'd consider me the moderator of the Friday Night Lights podcast for the state of Georgia. Um, I make sure that I read all the comments and I try to keep everybody on the straight path to make sure that the show flows and does what it needs to do. Podcast has been around for about 4 years now, and we are steadily growing our audience. So, and I just want to say I'm excited to be here. We started out with Shan, but she had to go her own way. We miss her terribly, but we are so proud of her, and I'm just pleased to be here today. I really am.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Mike Thirsty Rollins.
Well, since you want to call me out by my government name, I am also part of the Friday Night Lights High School Georgia Football Podcast. I go by Thirsty BS Rollins, Esquire. And I guess you could say I like to stir the pot a lot on the podcast. One of the statisticians and, do some things in the background to help the podcast out also. But yeah, Shane, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a minute since we chit-chatted. Good to see you. Glad to see you doing well. Everything's going good for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Look, so give us the background to the thirsty name, the thirsty BS Rollins name.
Well, since you asked, I stay thirsty a lot. My throat gets a little dry, gets a little parched. So, I have to put some liquids in my mouth, i.e., some adult beverages. Sometimes I tend to have one too many adult beverages while we live. Sometimes I tend to have one or two before we even go live.
Can I answer that question as well?
Go ahead,
Yes,
Jessica.
you can.
Okay. So, to those of you who have seen Empire, Lucius Lyons had an attorney, and his attorney's name was Thirsty. And Thirsty was a guy that could talk his way through anything, and he didn't mind getting his hands dirty to do what needed to be done. And so, yes, he is quite thirsty, and he loves to wet his whistle with water and other beverages, whether they be alcoholic or non-alcoholic. But actually, there's a reason why it's Thirsty B.S. Rollins Esquire, and that is because he likes to stir the pot.
I will. Baby.
And
I do love shaking hands and kissing babies.
He
So I
does
can't
love
deny that.
shaking hands and kissing, but he's full of it. Basically, we love him, but he's full of it.
It's always good to have that one devil advocate on the show to kind of change things up, mix it up a little bit.
We got two.
Mike is definitely that one.
We got two. We got two. There's one in the top corner too.
Yeah, I know. I've been peeping that out lately too with him. So we're gonna go to Mr. Yo.
What's good? I go by the name Yo Soy. Everything that my two panel members have said about this young lady, Shan, we definitely miss her from being on our podcast, but as I've been featured on her podcast before, y'all know I tell y'all we really love her, we do miss her, but we're glad that she's doing well. Now, everything they were saying about Jessica, she is that person. If you all ever have listened or get a chance to listen to Friday Night Light podcast, please don't come on Friday night. And Shan can tell you a lot about that. Jessica on Monday and Wednesday, she's very demure. I think she likes to say she's very calm. But Friday night, ain't And thirsty, stirring the pot is an understatement. I'm just here on the podcast so I don't get fined. That's all.
Nobody believes that.
Look, somebody has to keep it all together, right?
Exactly. That's
It's
me.
not him.
Look,
That would be me.
look, I was gonna say that because since Jessica is the moderator, that's a lot of work for the moderator, especially on that kind of platform, because you got so much energy and attention, and and people people they get pretty excited. And so and sometimes it's not always in a negative way or bad way, but sometimes you have to calm people down a little bit, like pipe it down a little bit. And Jessica is like the right person to do it. Be like,
thank you, darling.
yeah. And just like Yo said, you catch her on a Friday night, in one of those moods, she gonna get you all the way right, and she gonna turn you every which way but loose. So
And Yo is
Yep.
talking, but he really might. I mean, Thirsty and
Yep.
Yo are two sides of the same coin. If one says right, the other is going to say left, and they debate. And sometimes I think they set it up that way, and they say controversial things to get some of the fan base riled up, and they might not even believe it sometimes. But
No way.
yeah,
No, we don't do that.
yes, definitely. And so that's what they do. They'll take a topic, especially because with football sports, people are fans of, they're fanatics, and they love especially their hometown football teams. And if you say the wrong thing or you say something that's a bit controversial, you're gonna get them up in arms, and they love it. You see that grin Yo has on his face. He loves that. He does.
So tell us what really inspired Friday Night Lights football podcast. Like, what inspired that to be established and be created?
Well, I guess I would say,
I'm gonna take part of this.
yeah, in the spirit of high school football in the state of Georgia, I mean, it's huge, and there was 3 schools, dominant schools in the state for their respective class, class 3A. It was the Peach County Trojans, the Cedar Grove Saints, and the Chris County Cougars. We all would get in the football group via Messenger on Facebook Messenger, and we would talk cash money, to each other, about whoever lost and what our teams was doing. Everybody's trying to make that state championship run. That got so big, people's talking every Friday. You couldn't wait. And the podcast scene is really jumping. The podcast is, I heard you in your introduction. People have to understand it's a lot that goes into getting the podcast out to the listeners every day or every other day, whichever day you decide to air. So with that being a thing, we all really wanted to get together. We wanted to see how we could get this podcast going. And there's some other people who do some things behind the scene. At least they used to do a lot more now. And I think us 3 and another panel member have kind of taken the reins and kind of put this to the next platform or where it is. But we just wanted to get together, talk football, and you was a part of that at that time. So you knew how big it was and how, we all just came together like a family, big camaraderie, and just talked that football between those schools. And we just watched it grow into something that it is today, which is amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I was when I was sharing with my platform last week when we was talking about this, that how Chic Chat Pod became birthed. I was telling them when I left and moved up here, it was hard for me to kind of really contribute to the podcast there because I was no longer there to watch the games or whatever. So, I felt like it was just hard for me to contribute. So I was like, I probably need to just pull away, do my thing. And I was like, but I wanted something that, women can have, because I noticed how passionate I saw all the guys, and it's not just guys on Friday Night Lights, because we have a bunch of women who are just as passionate or even more passionate than some of the guys about football and about their teams and about their players. But it was just so raw and so real. And I was like, I wish that women had that. I wish that, women need to have a safe space that they can chat something, chat all things women and not have to be worried about, what somebody think or whatever, because it's all women. We talking about, light things, whatever. And that's how Chic Chat Pod became birthed, because I wanted to provide what I experienced from Friday Night Lights. Seeing the majority male dominated podcast, and their fans enjoying and being so engaged. And I was like, women need that. They need that. They need that safe space or whatever. And so, it's definitely, it was definitely electrifying, and seeing, but like I said, some of the women were just as passionate as the men, if not more. I remember when we actually started out, Jessica and I would always get hit on by the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Not me, not me, Shan. That was Shan, not me.
We get hit on by the guys, and then we get to talking about football and shame them out, because we knew our stuff. We wasn't just on the podcast trying to be cute. We knew our football stuff. And then when they saw we knew our football stuff, they were like, well, dang, okay. So that's where our respect came, because it was not like, they just threw some girls on the panel or the platform just to talk, talk junk. No, we knew our stuff.
Yes.
And so we were debating and having debates with facts, not things that we thought we knew or what we thought about or whatever. It was based off of facts and things that we've seen and experienced, or, notary stuff. And so, and when guys seen that, that's where our respect on a podcast, on a male dominated podcast platform, became like real to them. So,
agreed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, Mike, I know you wanted to add something to that.
For sure. Man, y'all done took the words out my mouth already. But when the four of us came together originally, I do want to say this. It was surprising and shocking how well the four of us clicked, and we just took off. And we actually got to a point, even in that first year, where people was looking forward to escaping reality and coming and joining us and talking Georgia high school football. But yeah, it was a beautiful thing when we came together, and the way we came together, I think we all can say we are appreciative and thankful for the way we came together. Wish we could have stuck together, but life has different different callings for everyone. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna add to it, because y'all don't say a majority of it.
Well, I'll say a little something. It just kind of it grew organically. I will say that there was a brother tandem, Maurice Mathis and Pedro Robinson, who kind of had the idea of, because they kind of started the group, and they had an idea of doing a podcast. So they reached out to, I guess they did observations. They did a really good job, and they identified people who knew what they were talking about to kind of come together and discuss high school football. So we certainly are appreciative of that to them. And it kind of just started out, we would just get on a live and just talk. And I think, when you talk about advice to people who want to start a podcast, I mean, I think we kind of had a built-in audience, because I would say the first thing you need to do is kind of target what audience you're looking for. And so we kind of had a built-in audience. We had people that love Georgia high school football. And as people started paying attention, it was like, okay, we really have something there. And so what we started to do was evolve. So then we came up with a format, and we came up with things that they would like to do, so it kind of grows, so it could kind of grow. And so now, 4 years in, they know, okay, on Mondays, we're going to have a recap of what happened on Fridays, and we're going to talk about the polls. They know on Wednesdays, we're going to talk about predictions, and we're going to put the team that we're playing on that Friday on the clock. And then on Friday nights, it's Say It With Your Chest Friday. So we have a format. So anybody out there listening, I don't know if that's your question. If I'm getting ahead of myself, I'm so sorry. But just, it was just organic. We had a target audience, and we evolved.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was gonna I'm glad you brought that up because I was gonna flow into that, but I want Yo to also kind of hit on that. Like, what do you think is some of the key dynamics for chemistry when it comes to like podcast hosting, like with a group, you know? Because it's one
Um,
thing to be by yourself, but when you're trying to, with a group, you got to make sure everybody can mesh and read the room and get, all those things and attitudes and those things, personalities, you work well together. So what do you think are key things that you think, are contributing factors when people are trying to establish like, collabing groups or hosting for
and
hosting?
that's crazy that you mentioned that because that was something that I was gonna speak on it after Jess made her post. I mean, I'm sorry, her comment. I mean, I think about when we first all got together. Um, you and Jess became like my sisters. I remember a time where you all went to a certain city that we will not name,
Be quiet.
and a certain thing happened that we will not talk about. But it was me, getting soup and juice and things, dropping it off to you all. Nobody asked me to do that, it was just how we all just clicked together, Thirst right now, I have brothers. I even made a post where I reached out to all my brothers and told them like, hey, y'all got to slide over. We got room for another brother right now, and come to find out Jess and I was actually blood cousins that we didn't even know from the same city all these years and found that out on the podcast. So you have to have that. Thirst and I, we feed off each other, Jess and I, all throughout the week. We talk to each other like we are a family. It's like you said, babe, you on your own, your production crew being niece do a great job. You all have that flowing. But for strangers to come together, you have to have that camaraderie with someone where you all are more like a family than just, I guess you can say, co-workers. You know what I mean? I've been to Thirst House. We do meet and greets. We meet up, spend time. We know each other's families. We like a perfect family. And it was that way with you. Like I said, I consider uh, Jada and AJ, our nieces and nephews, the same as you do our kids. And, that's just how we hit off, and been that way ever since. So, that's what I would suggest. Anybody that's willing and wanting to start a podcast, make sure you have a camaraderie with some people that that you all can. I heard you say one of your friends that does podcasting with you, you all just have that. You don't get to rehearse and stuff. Everything is live, but you can feed off of each other because y'all have that relationship. Like you have to have that type of thing going on in the podcast world because we see them getting destroyed every day by co-hosts and hosts that just don't click and get along well.
Yes, I'm gonna read some of the comments in here. Hey, Mr. Sutton, we got Mr. Sutton. He's our faithful listener that checks in from Nicaragua. Jada says, question, why do you call, we already answered that, why you call him thirsty. She said, I would say that group was my mom's safe space. She loved talking football. Yeah, really did. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, Shakira. Hey, y'all, baby sis checking in. If you want to come on, Shakira, let us know and Jada send you the link. So let us know. So Jada said, true Uncle Yo.
Definitely.
Yes. So we know that you guys, this is what, year 4 for y'all or year 5? Is
Year
it going
four.
year 4? Okay, so this is year 4 for you guys. So what, from year 1, and since it's been 4 years for you guys, it's only been 2 for us. So what are some of those lessons learned from the beginning to now, Thirsty, that you think are were vital to the growth of what you're seeing in the platform now?
I know from my point of view, being organized and sticking to that schedule. We do 3 shows a week, and we also come together on Sundays and do our polls, and if time allows, do our team production meeting. But allocating that time and making that schedule and sticking to it, because I know I do a lot in the background for the podcast, i.e. statistician, where I build up a lot of stuff that we present. So I have to carve that time out throughout the week to make sure things are done and on schedule. If not, we're not going to provide that product, that quality product, to our viewers and listeners. And that's what it's all about, maintaining a quality product. That's one of the things I like to stick with, is keep that product at a certain standard by any means necessary. Now outside of that, behind the backgrounds, yes, you're going to have, I guess you could say, if you're in it to make money, you're going to have to spend money up front, whether it's equipment, paying for your streaming services. If you have to pay for a guest to come on, paying for that guest to come on. Luckily, we've made good connections to where we can get good guests on the show for free. But and trying to find those sponsors and being able to make that deal for those sponsors to help you with those incurring costs that you're going to have with a podcast, because it's going to cost you to run a podcast. It's not going to be cheap. So that's what I'm saying. That's me personally from the background. And for anyone that is interested in that podcast, it is going to take some time. You're going to sacrifice some things in real life. And sometimes real life is going to come at you fast, and you're going to have to make adjustments. Luckily, just can back me up on some things that I need done if I can't do it. Prime example, I'm not going to be on Monday, but the standard of the show is not going to drop, because Jess is going to be provided with the visuals for the show on Monday. Because I'm going to be at the Bend having a good time watching the Falcons beat up on the Bills. And, going down to Jacksonville for the Georgia-Florida game. I know I'm not going to be on Friday night. So it's little things like that. And you got to have those, having a good team, having the team we got, man, I wouldn't give it up for the world.
I'll probably see you at that Georgia-Florida game.
We all get down.
It all depends. Hey, as long as the government opens back up, I'll be there.
Look, I'm trying to tell you, cause look, they're trying to shorten my activities right now.
I feel you. But yeah, you gotta really want it on the Runner podcast, because it's not easy.
Yeah, and that's true. We have definitely I was teasing people last week when I told them, I said, I be treating Jada like, she my employee from work, because because I am like detail about, the stuff we put out, our products, our marketing, all that kind of stuff. So when she's doing flyers and doing things or whatever, I'll be like, it has to go through me before you post it, let me review it before you post it, that kind of thing. So she gets like, just because she's my daughter, I still be like on her like she's a regular employee, and that's what she said, but I do it for a simple reason, is if I have, like you said, if you have a standard that you're trying to set or whatever, you want to maintain that standard. And so, and I don't want us, missing, opportunities, because we're not showcasing our very best at all times. So, so she gets it just like a regular, somebody regular working with me. So she said all the time, I was like, but you get paid though. I was like, I tell her, I said, you get paid, you get free groceries from your mama house.
Mm-hmm.
You get different things, so you get paid.
And we saw the background dance of that to make sure she got
that was
them
hilarious.
Oh my gosh. She working hard for them groceries.
He got down for them groceries.
That baby should be able to come in and get free groceries for the next year, because she was working. I said, look at this majorette dancer right here.
No, girl. I told her she must have thought she was one of those Alabama little honeybees.
She was getting
Alabama State honeybees or something, because she did them drops like, I don't know what.
That's like, girl, I used to have knees like that.
Right. Hey, Mr. Robert, how are you? Yeah, so but yeah, it does. It takes money. Like you have to be able to like contribute to your platform and your product to make sure that it's, you're marketing, you're promoting, you're able to stay organized or whatever. Those are the things that make sure that you can function week after week without any hiccups or whatever. And so I'm fortunate, even though it's just me and I have a co-host now, since we did year 2. So I have a co-host. So anytime that I'm out or whatever, my co-host and Jada, take the reins or whatever. So that way I don't have to like just totally shut down the podcast and be like, I'm out of town and, shut it down or whatever. Cause people be getting mad. They be like, we ain't got no podcast today. And I'll be like, no, so, the first year, that's how it was. Cause I was doing all this traveling that year. And I was like, God, I can't do the podcast because I'm be like on a trip and all this kind of stuff. But, now I have, backup and, people that can step in and fill in. And that makes a world of difference because you don't want to lose followers or, your engagement with your audience either because, they don't miss the opportunity because they were looking forward to the podcast, kind of thing. So yeah. So how important is it for you guys with your engagement with your audience and the people on your podcast? How important is that engagement with those followers and with like getting more followers? Like how important is that for you guys?
Extremely important. We like to think that we're a family, not just the panel, but our listeners. They're very loyal. They really do appreciate us, and we like to show appreciation too. I know Yo and I and Mike yes, we try to make it our business, of course, to have the meet and greets when we can. And we also, when my Trojans are not playing, or if they play on a Thursday night, we try to make it our business to go and see other listeners. We've been to Columbus several times. We just went down to Quitman, Georgia, Friday. We've been to Thomasville.
My neck of the woods.
Yeah. We've gone to Thomasville. We've gone to see the Grove games. We've been in Atlanta. We've been to Dublin. We've been several places because we want to not only see a good football game, but we want to interact with our listeners. And they get really excited and they love to invite us places. We still got to get down to Coffee County because we want to experience their tailgates. They have invited us several times. Like, yeah, we want you to come down and experience us. And we're gonna try to put that on our calendar soon. Probably next year, but anytime we can, we try to engage. It's so important, and they really love us. And we even went to the Benz. We went to the Benz last year. We made sure that we met up with all of our listeners, and they appreciate that. And I think it makes them, come back more. So yes. It's extremely important.
Make y'all like celebrities. They be like, look on the Friday Night Podcast.
The pictures,
Yeah, look on the Friday Night Podcast crew.
Yeah, we enjoy the pictures and just to kind of get on some of the things that Jess just had said. All of us, we do this, and we love to interact with our fans and take those pictures. And like you said, they look at us like some little local celebrities. But the thing is, we do this out our own pockets. You know what I mean? Like last year, we went to the Benz for 3 days straight. You know what I mean? And some things didn't transpire that was supposed to, which we'll make sure we stay on this year. But we paid for tickets all 3 days to go in, which neither one of our teams that we root for as a panel was at the Benz for the championship game. But we did that to collaborate with our fans who had their teams playing for the state championship. We got to meet a lot of them where we couldn't travel down all over the state of Georgia to see them during the season. We was able to see at the Benz and things like that. So it is important to keep that relationship with your listeners and stuff. Like they say, with the meet and greets, we get a centralized location and invite people up to come and eat and fellowship with us at that time. So we do a lot of that. And again, that's on our own dimes to try to keep that, going with our listeners and let them know, we couldn't do our podcast and be who we are without them. So we have deemed and we call them our loyal listeners. And there are so many that have been with us since day one that we, try to show appreciation to. So
Look, let's talk about the name because, the name is highly important too, just because you're branding.
yes,
When you're talking about naming your platform or your podcast, it is so important for branding purposes and then for audience purpose, like your niche, who you trying to grab, who you're targeting or whatever. And so how important Thursday was FNL, Friday Night Lights, for this podcast name?
It was it was key. It was one of the major keys for us. As long as I'm glad that we was able to secure it. Oh, I guess my internet messing up, huh?
you are in Decatur. I'm sorry, you ain't in Decatur.
It's like we hear
You're going in and out.
pause. Yeah.
You okay?
Oh, my T-Mobile internet messing up again, huh? My bad.
Okay, we can hear you now. See, that's
okay.
right.
Now, for the name itself, man, I feel it was
Don't
key.
let him drink.
What I do?
It's the surprise. We know it's a surprise.
Go ahead, baby.
Well, you asked me about the name, right?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying the name was vital. It was key because that's us. I feel like we're the face of high school football in Georgia for people that can't get to the games, for people that want to know what's going on.
Yeah,
I feel like we're the voice of that.
When you think about Georgia football, Friday Night Lights just rings everything for that because when you going down south to a football game, you know especially in small towns or whatever, like my hometown, Fort Valley, towns like that. Dang near the whole town shuts down for a Friday night football game because that's just how important it is, to the people in that town because football is so big and major there. And so, so having that name Friday Night Lights, it rings like big when you're talking about, this is big time. This is like, it don't get better than Friday Night Lights, with football in Georgia or football in the South. So I think that name is superior to y'all platform and it serves it well.
I definitely agree.
Yes. Miss Lanita said same in Alabama. Yes. Yeah. Alabama the same way. That's Southern football.
And when you think
I'm sorry to interrupt you. The name Chic Chat, I know I do it all the time. The name Chic Chat podcast, man. When I remember when you first left and you was telling us about starting that, man, like the name itself, like that name just grabbed me like, oh yeah, sis know what she's doing. You know what I mean? So it's just like Friday Night Lights name, we knew what we was targeting. Like you said, Friday nights in the state of Georgia for football, this is what it is. So that Friday Night Lights, it grabs that, the platform that you have here and the things that you're doing, talking all things women, a lot of stuff that a lot of women don't have the courage to say, you all are supportive. You give them that safe place to voice and say the things that they need to say, and inspiring them in many ways. From what I've seen and listened to from the podcast, the name Chic Chat is perfect. So yeah, you did what you needed to do on that, sis.
Yeah, I was thinking about it because I always when, like I told you, when we first started out the podcast, and it was me and Jessica on the platform, and um, and the guys would try to hit on us.
Mm-hmm.
He would
Still do for
always
Jessica,
just
I'ma
say
just say.
they would always say we just some cute. They just put some cute girls on a platform
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And then we start opening our mouth talking about football and giving stats and naming players and saying, giving stuff that, some of the guys couldn't give. And they were just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Football philosophy.
Yeah, so we taught that talk, and so I made a lot of that major respect came from that. And so when I looked at Chit Chat podcast, I always thought about that because it took me back to Friday Night Lights where somebody just thought I was just on the podcast being cute because I always had my
Mm-hmm.
little face done, makeup on, all this kind of stuff. But I talk football and I talk trash with everybody on there.
Mhm.
It didn't change nothing. I'll be like, don't let the lipstick and the eyelash fool you. Because I know my football stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So and so that's why I wanted to kind of incorporate that with Chit Chat podcast, because that was kind of like the signature thing, because people used to like, oh, she just being cute up there or whatever. No, I was talking my stuff because I knew my stuff or whatever. But so I wanted to utilize that with Chit Chat podcast. I was like, well, I'm just do the headphones with the red lipstick, let that be the signature mark,
There
since
you
that's
go.
what they thought.
You
There
That's
did
what
you
they
it.
go.
thought of me in the beginning. So, but
You
yeah,
did that. You definitely did that. It
yeah.
was
So
awesome.
that's definitely the signature. But and then it helps too, because when there's other chit chat pods out there
Mm-hmm.
in you on YouTube. However, because our branding and marketing is different, and it shows, all I got to tell people is look for the headphones with the red lips.
There
That's
you
our
go.
pod logo. And boom, it's like, oh yeah, I found it, the red lipstick, the headphones. Okay. So it's so easy for us to be identified now, because logos make a difference, names make a difference, as well. But if there's people utilizing the same name, it's important that you kind of brand yours to stand out, like with a logo or something.
There you
And
go.
that's what we wanted to do. So
Exactly. Make sure that you distinguish yourself. What makes you different from the other Chick Chat podcasts? And they know when they see that logo, which is so cute, when they know that that is you, and this is what I need to be clicking on. And then so they get all that good content. And saying when people hear Friday Night Lights, they know, okay, it's football, it's high school football
mm-hmm.
in Georgia. So yeah, I think it's wonderful. I think it I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
And for the record, they hit on Shan. They didn't hit on me.
they hit on Jessica too.
No, they didn't.
Still hit on Jessica.
I
No,
know, I
no,
know
listen
they
to me.
do.
Now,
No.
real quick, let me say this, babe. I think the camaraderie we built, I'll go back on, is because Mike is prior Navy, I'm prior Army, Shan's prior Air Force, and Jess is ex-Marine.
I'm not. No, my daddy was a veteran, so but that was it. I'm an army baby, but no.
I mean, I just thought you was a ex-Marine. The way you curse and be ready to take people apart. So
That sounds like a sailor then.
yeah,
On
she
Friday night.
she cursed like Mike, but she'll take your head off like a Marine.
Okay.
Don't believe them. Don't believe them. And Friday nights is just a old salt and sugar. I'm as sweet as I can be. I'm quite professional, and I can really curse you out, and then in the next breath, just go back to how I was before I
Okay,
had.
there go the truth. There go the truth right there. There go the
I
truth.
mean, I can. I will say that I can really go off on somebody and then go back to just being really calm. But that doesn't have anything to do with. See, that's another thing. When you have camaraderie, you can joke, you can laugh, and it's just
Right.
it's just you just build off each other. And I think one of the things is, if you're gonna do you're gonna be in an ensemble, you got to be open minded. You got to know how people are, or what people, just kind of learn people,
Mm-hmm.
and just be open and realize that, hey, you don't know everything. You know what
Right.
I mean? And it doesn't always have to be your way.
I
And
do.
you understand if things happen, okay, well, that's how they are. Try to understand
I
where they're
do.
coming from.
I know everything.
You
Yeah,
think you do.
yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because doing a podcast, you have to be able to be open to everybody's perspective. You
Yes.
Yeah.
know, right, wrong, or indifferent, you got to be open to everybody's perspective because you want to continue to have followers and people that are listening in, and you don't want them to think it has to be one way, your way, or how you think, or how your platform thinks, or whatever. And so, and that's what we always say. We welcome Tequila, put out there. We welcome open engagement. We just ask that that you be respectful with it. We don't expect everybody to agree. We can agree to disagree and all those kind of things. However, it's just a tasteful way in doing it. And
Mhm.
so, and that's how we want to create our platform to be, because it's an empowerment platform. It's a platform for women. So we're supposed to be there to support, motivate, and encourage each other. And so we don't want it to be a place where, people, bashing and doing things, because it defeats the whole motto of the platform. So,
Agreed.
Oh,
but yeah,
And I will say that you also have to also have to admit when you're wrong, because on our show, we sometimes we have to eat a lot of crow,
Mhm.
because we might say, oh, this team is going to get destroyed on Friday night. It's not going to be close. You don't have what it takes. And then come Friday,
man, that's
they
time for me.
win. And so
Man,
they
that's
are
time for me.
ready, especially on Mondays. They are ready. Oh, what the wizard gotta
yeah,
say? What the wizard gotta say now? I thought he said our team wasn't gonna win. So you have to be able to eat crow and admit where you're wrong. And they appreciate that. So
yeah.
that's another thing.
Well,
Look,
I do. Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, Mike.
Well, just since you brought up the wizard, I'm shocked he's tuning in today.
I seen that in the comments. I was gonna hit some of the comments, some of
I
the
guess he
comment
ain't fine.
remarks. The wizard said, "Hey y'all."
Hey
So the
wizard.
wizard is from Friday Night Lights. It's one of their main characters from Friday Night Lights that do guest appearances. So I'll let Mike Thirsty explain who the wizard is, because he's related to the wizard.
So the wizard, well, not really related. He just when we found him, or when I found him, I let him come stay in my basement. And he's getting a little outraged. I might have to kick him out soon. But he comes on FNL. He does our weekly predictions, um, talks a little trash for about 10, 15 minutes. And he also does our pick'ems, our weekly pick'ems that we do. And he actually pays individuals for winning the pick'ems. Ain't that right? Yeah,
Yes,
man, yo.
yes,
Yeah, I went smoking cigars off the wizard. But no, the wizard is a character on. I'm gonna call him a character because that's what he is. He's a character
Definitely.
for FNL because you just don't know what's gonna come out of his mouth.
and you don't know when he gonna show up.
That part.
Mhm. That part.
And kind of going back to what he was just saying about the wizard, and also what Shan was saying about them knowing their stuff. The wizard offers what he calls the pick'ems. You get to pick the game per week, 10 games. And the winner challenged the wizard during the playoffs, and whoever has the most victories wins money. Well, Shan won the first inaugural challenge Mr. Wizard. So that lets you know we didn't just put pretty girls on our podcast. We had girls that knew what they was
Do
talking about. She knew how to
some
pick those
things.
games. Jess, who liked to let us know that she's not a prognosticator. And that's also her new name is Miriam, because that's our dictionary. You need to know anything, she gonna tell you. So a prognosticator is someone that you got to use the root word now. They don't I guess. I don't know. But
What
anyway,
say it again?
prognosticator. What's the root word of prognosticator?
Prognosis or
Prognosis. See?
yeah, I don't give a
So
prognosis. I don't
there you go.
prognosticate. Yes, I
So
don't predict.
we got real sport women on our podcast, man, I pay homage. Not to mention our baby sister, who's under the weather, who you all saw in the comment, Shakira. She know her stuff as well. So those three women we have had on our panel, and still have on our panel, they know their stuff. We can't do this without them, and we appreciate them every day. Now, it is a male-dominated podcast in the football, but they knew their stuff. And again, I can't do nothing but keep bigging up what our sister is doing over here with Chit Chat. You know, any of your FNL podcast listeners that listen, I will definitely share this, and it's on my show. Man, y'all make sure any women, men, y'all make sure y'all tag in and lock in to what it is that my sister is doing over here, because she's doing big things for women with this podcast, man, and we fully support her from FNL, man.
Because we miss her. Y'all don't understand. Shan really made that podcast flow. Her insight was just great, and she came with facts, irrefutable facts, because she would say things and there was really no comeback, because she was 100% correct, and she didn't just give it a she had things she backed up. So that's another thing that I will say for anybody that's going to do a podcast. Know what you're talking about, and if you don't know, there's this thing called research, and you've got to do it. So make sure that you research what you're talking about, so you won't look crazy. Now, that I know I said you can admit when you're wrong, but that doesn't mean you have to be wrong all the time.
Right.
Just kind of know what you're talking about, and research, and be open. It's a mixture of things. So yes, my sis knows what she's doing.
Awesome. Thank you guys for that. Look, we're gonna talk. This is how we're gonna wrap it up. You know, we've always had like fun wording. You know, you have all these crazy behind the scene things that happen, or you'll create, you know, certain verbiage or wording, you know, that is utilized on your platform that become like a hit. And I know Friday Night has a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And so you know, we have our motto, you know, chat all things women, and then, you know, we also, we call our women in our group chickas. And so, you know, so we're always, hey, chickas, but, you know, that's our thing so far. But what are some of those things that you guys have started from year one that has carried on, and it has become like a signature Friday Night Light saying or verbiage or something?
So many. Go ahead, yo.
I mean, first off, the entire
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's what I do.
Go ahead.
That's yo.
Well, I can tell you this. I mean, we can go down a slew of things. First off, you know, you better not lose. That's number one. That's the motto of our group. It's carried over to our podcast. We still to this day have to pay homage to our sister, because Coke don't worry about Pepsi. You know what I mean? We still been on that since day one. We have one where you might come on here talking about my team this, and they gonna beat such and such and this, and we like, in what? Like in what? What are you talking about? You know, it definitely ain't gonna happen in football. You know, we have so many, man, that we have all came up with and pushed the issues, and our listeners have just taken it and ran with it. I mean, my law, you know, my grandmother that I love and miss dearly, been 5 years since I lost her. And when I would talk to her and I would be telling her things, and she would just shake her head and she would just say, my law. And that just stuck with me. So, you know, that's my phrase now, my law. That don't kind of took over at on the podcast. I mean, maybe even you, babe. I know you know some. Jazz Thirst, y'all got some?
They'll say, oh, you got a chance. A snowball chance.
Snowball chance.
Or, you know, they used to ask me questions. And instead of me saying, it ain't your business, I say, I went to go see a man about a mule. That merely means that's right there. Business. What I'm doing.
It became mule chasing.
Right. That was one of the favorites. you know.
But now I'm a mule chaser.
People be like, "Where's Jess?" Don't let Jess not be there. They be like, "Where's Jess?" She went to go see a man by the mule. Somebody posted comments.
So now I'm a
Whatever.
mule chaser. I'm chasing men everywhere. So yeah.
Oh man.
Yes. So, but yeah, the Bet Not Lose was what started in the group before we started the podcast, and that was the tag everybody. Y'all better not lose. Your team better not lose, or whatever, because y'all gonna get it on Friday. Cup, and we was checking scores too. Throughout the night we be checking scores. Hey, y'all see so and so down by such and such. Or whatever. We post that thing, better not lose. See y'all at 11 o'clock, better not lose. And because so they already know when 11 o'clock hit, if they don't lost, they about to get it. Because we coming hard for them.
Speaking of losing, babe, I got a fact that I just wanted to tell you. Do you know Crawford County has a better record than Cedar Grove?
I knew he was gonna say that.
You know why? Because our second favorite cliche on there is no longer available. Lego set. The Lego store ain't selling Lego sets like they used to.
Man, make sure we take this and put this on FNL now.
Right.
I've definitely shared it. I shared it on my page. I should have shared it in the group, but I
shared it on my page. I got to put this in the group.
Look, so Legoland does not exist anymore. So they're not.
Well, they're renovating. How about that? They're renovating the station, but don't worry.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm like, what don't happen?
A whole lot don't happen. A whole lot.
Wow.
A whole lot.
But I must say, he hadn't ran. He's still been faithful right here. He's been taking his work because I've been trying to give him that work every week, and he's been taking it like he gave everybody else. So
right,
it goes with that.
I mean, and we've all taken our lumps. Peach County had to take theirs. Chris County had to take theirs, and now it's just Cedar Grove turn.
So. Oh yeah,
right. And speaking of Peach County, my hat is off to Peach County because they are doing the doggone thing. And I make sure if I don't do nothing else, I'm checking Friday night scores for Peach County. And so, and so it's just been a pleasure. And I always hit up my son and be like, Peach beat so-and-so, Peach won, Peach, so I always keep him like up to date or whatever. But he has to come back anyway and talk to the team. He promised that to Coach Westbrook. So when he graduates in May, before he graduates in May, maybe he'll get a chance to come back and on spring break.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. When we first started this podcast, AJ was a junior or senior? Was he?
He was a sophomore.
Sophomore in high school.
Headed to Peach County, remember?
Yeah.
Wow.
And now, oh my goodness. And he has come on our podcast. He's talked about his recruiting journey. We were just, he's our nephew, and that's another thing. We have adopted so many of these kids as our nephews,
we aunties to so many.
Yeah, they call me auntie so much. That's all they do.
I still get it. Hey, auntie, we miss you and such and such. Hey, auntie, did you see the game? This game or whatever. Or somebody share me alive to watch.
Yes, and I love it. I do. Yeah. I appreciate it. I do. It's a blessing, because I was able to meet some of the greatest people that I've ever met in my life through this podcast. And I really do think this was divinely inspired, that God placed you all in my life.
Thank you.
To help me, because it came at a time where I was dealing with a lot, job transition, being a caregiver, but this was a way for me to escape. And I've gained brothers and sisters, and I'm just so grateful. And it extends beyond a podcast every day, y'all are my family.
One life.
Look, you already did it. I was gonna say we're gonna wrap up with lessons learned and any advice that you want to leave the audience with before we let you guys provide your handles for your information for people to check out the podcast. But Jess, is that all you want to add, or you want to add anything else?
That's it. And I don't really have any handles, but if you want to, if you want to see me, you can check me out in the on the FNL page. I'm Jessica Abrams on Facebook. You can look me up,
Okay.
and I can accept my friend request. I have Instagram, but I don't really post there. I guess I need to start doing that. But no, I want to say before I stop, and I'm not gonna say anything else. Thank you so much for inviting me on this podcast. It has been a complete honor. I love you, and I miss
Oh, love you back, sis. You welcome. All right, Thirsty. Before we lose you, look, because I know you don't have a couple sips over there.
No, I gotta go fire this grill up. That's all. Gotta go put some meat on this grill here before it get too dark. But nah, as Jess has already said, thank you for the invite. Thank you for having us. I'm not going to give out my personal handles. If you do want to see me, come join us on Friday Night Lights, High School Football Georgia. That is the name of the Facebook page, and you can see and you can engage with us there 3 days a week, Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:15ish to 9 o'clock ish, and on Friday nights at 11:15ish until whenever. But again,
Awesome.
thank you,
15.
Shane.
You
Yeah,
welcome.
yeah,
You welcome, bro. Go
and
ahead, yeah.
continue blessings and success to you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Man, the same, man. Yo soy, on all platforms. But like Bruh said, make sure you check us out on Friday Night Lights. Again, thank you for having us, babe. Like I said, anybody listening to this on my page, on Friday Night Lights page, man, y'all make sure y'all check out sis on Chic Chat Podcast. If you got any problem, just find the one with the pretty lips and the headphones. And y'all know what Shan brought to Friday Night Lights. She bring that same type of energy, same type of knowledge to addressing issues with women. I want y'all to check her out, listen to her show. Man, just happy to be here with you again, babe. And we definitely will be checking in. Jess, I'll get with you because we'll be checking in with Shan next week on our way from Cairo.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. For alumni weekend.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Yay.
Moultrie. We'll stop through Moultrie on our way from Cairo.
Okay. Awesome. Look. Hopefully we still have some food by the end, because they start early. We start early for tailgating, but if not, then I'll make sure I find y'all some food, because it'll be
I don't
plenty
went
on
about
there.
5 weeks looking for some good barbecue and ain't find none yet. So
Okay. Well, we're gonna find y'all some for that Friday. But thank you guys so much for coming on. Look, the podcast, it's we still establishing Chit Chat Podcast, but it's a journey. We're going into year 3, so we're pretty excited about that. We're doing some rebranding stuff with that, and I have to give my hats off to my daughter, who works behind the scenes on a lot of that rebranding stuff, the pictures, the things that she's doing with that. This is the stuff that she loves. She absolutely loves this kind of stuff. And I shared last week with the podcast with us. She loves it so much, because I be talking about how well she do such a good job. Other podcast people want to pull her and use her, and for her to work with them. And so she keeps saying, "Mommy, you're not losing me. Even if I go work with other people, you're not losing me." But
Well, can
if
we
I
borrow
did,
her on Mondays and Wednesdays?
if if I did, it wouldn't bother me, because I know what they're getting when they get her. And I know the kind of work that she's going to produce. So, but she's doing such a great job. And I like to kind of give my hats off to her for the job that she's doing, because I couldn't do it without her. So, thank you, Jada.
Thank you,
But
Jada.
I know she's just doing her little thing. But before we leave, because I want to give a chance for some Chit Chat Pod merch or whatever. So and I'm gonna let you guys help me with this. So if you're in the Chit Chat Pod audience, in our listening audience right now, this is an opportunity for you to get some Chit Chat Pod merch. This is the Chit Chat Pod top opener, can opener thing. So, and it has our logo emblem on the top of it. So this is an opportunity to win that. So I'm gonna ask, what was Friday Night Lights? What was what? Give me something that can we can kind of have them guess something. What was the best game on y'all had on this past Friday?
Oh,
Was it
Do y'all
something?
have any close games or anything?
It's Carver
oh,
Columbus versus Americus
yeah,
Sumter County.
Okay,
yeah.
so the Carver Columbus, y'all know this what the score was. We don't.
Yes,
So
Mm-hmm.
they had a Carver Columbus versus
Sumter
Sumter
County.
The county.
Sumter County. So it was a close game, one of their big games this past Friday. So if anybody can get the score close enough to whatever that winning score, that final score was, then you can get the and it don't have to be exact, as long as it's close enough. And when I say close, it needs to be within, I would say within 3 points of it. So if anybody wants to win some Chit Chat Pod merch, um, post what you think the score was. Who was the winner out that team? Just tell us who won
Carver,
the game.
Carver
Carver.
Columbus.
So Carver beat Sumter. So tell us what you think that score was, since that was a close game. Carver Columbus against Sumter High School in Georgia. So if you can guess, and it's within 3 points of the final score, you get the Chit Chat Pod merch. So come on, guys, real quick.
Oh, we disqualified, huh?
Yeah, you guys,
Yeah.
y'all know the answer.
The whole
See, they
time
don't. They're not gonna know the answer
I
because
was thinking
they
about
weren't
going
there.
on. I was thinking about going on the aliens and get me a can opener.
You ain't lying.
I
See
say you.
what I got to deal with? They're charlatans. They're scammers.
I know.
Is
I
the
say.
wizard?
I'm.
Well, is the wizard disqualified too?
Yes.
Yeah, the Wizards disqualified too. So, anybody want to take a dive at that?
He gotta let him know. Get back down in the basement.
Anybody want to take a dive at that? Post your score right now. And what was another game that was kind of close? Miss Lanita said 20-18.
Mm-mm.
Anybody else? Jada said
27.
27-20.
Okay.
I ain't gonna say close. All I'm gonna say is y'all gonna read about this one in national headlines, which I'm surprised you haven't yet.
Another game. What about Gainesville,
Oh,
Milton? You want?
no, I'm about to put it. No, I'm about to put it in the. I'm about to send it to.
Okay, Jada James.
Yeah.
16.
No, what I'm saying is it's making the national headlines, but not for good reasons.
All right. Anybody else for that one before we close this one out? So Miss Lanita said 20-18. Jada said 20. Jada, what is the 6-7? Oh, you saying 6-7 is the final score?
Mm-hmm.
Now, which one are you gonna stick with, Jada? You got to stick with either 27 or 20 or 6-7.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one, Mike.
Which one are you gonna stick with? The 6-7. Okay, Jada says she's gonna stick with the 6-7. Miss
Do you see the
Lanita,
private chat, Jada?
Yeah.
Jada, be fair, so you're not looking at the answers.
She said no, she's not. I believe you, baby. I believe you, baby.
Okay. She talked for real, LOL. Okay, so what was I'm cooking on my phone. Okay, what was the final score?
It was
Final
eight
8-7.
Carver, 7 Sumter
8,
to
Mhm.
7.
Carver
8 to
Columbus
7.
8, Sumter County 7.
Okay. All
In the
right.
pouring rain.
All
So
right, Jada. So I guess she said 6-7. Okay. So look here, clock it. Whatever, Jada. So the last one, we're gonna do one more. So the last one, you said there was another game.
Creekside versus Charles Drew High School.
Creekside versus Charles Drew High School.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was a close game.
No.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
wasn't a close game. Okay, so
Nope.
out of the game for Creekside versus Charles Drew High School, if anybody can pick which team you think won. You only get one chance to pick.
And it was not close.
So decide which team do you thought won out of those two teams.
The game was about as close as Atlanta is to LA.
Mm. So the high schools are Creekside High School and what was the other one again?
Charles Drew High School.
Charles Drew High School. So who do you think won out of that game? So the winner gets the top. She says that Jonesboro. It's in Atlanta.
Yes.
Charles Drew Riverdale.
Yeah,
it's
Riverdale.
in County. And Creekside
nobody
is
gonna
in
nobody get close to this go.
But
So
it's
who do you think won that game? Creekside
Yeah,
or Charles Drew? Let's go. 1 minute. Pick a team.
I'll take the most ridiculous score you can come up with. See, this is how I am on the podcast.
Pick a winner.
This is what I do on the podcast.
And he's had far more, and usually he's had far more to drink. Okay.
Right.
Lanita said Creekside won. What was the score, Miss Lanita? I'm
Good
taking
job.
over. I'm sorry. I'm so used to reading comments.
I know, right? Old habits, right?
Oh, habits. I'm sorry, Shan.
You're fine. Look, they don't have to pick the score for this one. They
No,
just got
okay.
She's correct. She's correct,
You're correct, Miss Lanita.
She is correct.
Yes.
Okay. So Miss Lanita, you are correct. Creekside is the winner. She said 30-2.
Oh, it should be. If it were. If only.
Oh, if it was.
What was the score?
91-0.
Are you serious?
Yes.
They let them play to get 91 points?
91-0.
With
and that was with a running clock.
Was a running clock?
That was a running clock in the second half.
No,
it didn't matter.
Oh my God. Oh, that's embarrassing.
91-0. I'm surprised it hasn't been on national news yet.
It's gonna make it. It's gonna make it the Sports Center or something.
So what fabulous gift did Miss Lanita win? Did she win it?
Yeah, she won the top opener too as well.
Congratulations.
Miss Lanita, make sure Jada gets your information so that way we can make sure you get your gift sent to you.
Congratulations.
So,
and maybe
she said I used to go to church in Fairborn. Okay, so you know that area then, Miss Lanita. Jada told me if she was a parent, she would be pissed.
No,
let them kids lose like that. I know. I would have been like, come on, it's time to go. We need to wait.
And that type of loss builds character.
Yeah, I know it does. It does.
A
lot of character in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, that is the end of our show this week. Again, I appreciate the Friday Night Light podcast crew for joining us this week. It's been a pleasure having you guys. Thank you for helping us to work and get some Chic Chat Pod merch out at the end. She said I worked at the elementary there. Oh, small world.
Small world.
Yeah, I know. Because Miss Lanita, she's from Alabama. She lives in Alabama.
Okay.
But
okay.
Yeah, we knew her when we lived in Alabama. So great show. Thank you, Mr. Jesse. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in this week. We appreciate you. So, but look, next week we'll have another surprise episode, but it is our Pink Out Sunday next Sunday. So next Sunday, wear your pink. Of course, we're acknowledging our breast cancer awareness for the month of October. So join us next Sunday for Pink Out Sunday. We'll have some surprise guests on for that. You don't want to miss this one. You probably want to bring your tissue and all that kind of stuff as well. But, it's going to be a nice episode and a nice tribute to as well. So if you guys can join us next week, we will appreciate it. Again, thank you, Friday Night Lights podcast. You know, you guys are welcome back anytime to Chic Chat Podcast. So anytime y'all want to come chill and chat with us, come do that. We are here.
Definitely will, babe.
Oh, she said I live in San Antonio now. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, you're in Texas. They say everything's bigger in Texas.
That's what they say. And anytime you want to just drop in and join us at FNL, Shan, you are more than welcome.
Always
Yeah,
welcome.
I peek my head in
Always.
there every once in a while. I'll be like, let me go see what they
I
talking
mean, if you want to come talk to the people, you can do that too, sweetheart. We can
Hey,
about.
send you.
Okay.
You
and
just
check
come
check
on.
that Tampa score. I hope y'all losing, man.
Oh my God. I hope not. Look, the TV on behind me. I had it on mute, but
I
Brian making
mean,
too much noise or whatever. So they better not be losing. We
I hope
we
so.
was up 7-3 when I started the podcast. But anyway, that's the game I'm supposed to been at. You know, the shutdown on, messed up my whole little
Yes, a
activity.
lot of stuff.
I know.
Enjoy.
I was like, jeez. But anywho, long as the Saints lost today, and did y'all play
Car-
today?
Carolina win. We play tomorrow.
Yeah, we play tomorrow Monday Night Football.
Carolina was they was
They,
tied with
they
Dallas the
beat
last time
They
I
beat
looked.
they
Dallas.
beat the Cowboys. So we
What?
need you all to lose so we can kind of get back into this division race.
Y'all ain't gonna get back in it, so cause we up on y'all like a few games. Look, we
Enjoy it
up
while
a
you
few
can.
games. So I told y'all, that South thing, we've been holding that South thing down, but we've been pulling games off at the last doggone second. We gotta stop
Yeah,
that.
Baker's playing out his mind, so that ain't gonna last all year. So y'all will
Yeah,
fall in place.
it's gonna start now, and then he'll get horrible later, and then
Yep,
it counts.
yep, yep,
So
yep.
yeah, but hopefully not. I got faith in my team. I got faith in my team. But anywho, thank you
Mm.
guys again. I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
guys. Shakira, I hope you get to feeling better. So we can have you on the next time. And thank you, Miss Lanita, for checking in as well. And we'll make sure you get your gift sent to you in San Antonio.
Mhm. Love you, babe.
But
Love
yes, thank you guys.
you.
And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys
All
for
right.
Okay.
checking in. Talk to you guys
Take
later.
care. Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye.